So that piece was a little more rotted down at the bottom than I had originally thought. So like with this here, this rust hole here, I'm going to drill a big hole with like a 1-inch drill bit, and then put a 1-inch plug in there, and then a little smaller one over here and this one here. But while I got this apart, you can see it's kind of rusty in there, and there's no way to get to that after that part's on. So I'm going to do some 415 in there, and that'll encapsulate all that. But I think I got a spray nozzle that will, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around here. Yeah, right here. So I got this internal coating, converts and encapsulates, and it's got this hose that when you spray, it sprays every direction. So I'm going to use that to spray the inside of that. But I flaked off some chunks of rust in there, so I got to get the vacuum out and vacuum them. Saying that, there we go. But there's some small chunks down in there that I knocked off of the wall in there, that I'm going to take and vacuum them out, and then I'll use that spray encapsulator, the internal coating, and I'll coat the inside of that where I won't be able to get to it later. And that's the hole I was talking about. I'll drill out and put a plug in it, and then all that will be coated back in here where I can't get to it. Where that one, I can get to it through the torque box, so I'll be able to coat all that in there with no problem. But I can't put this piece in, if that makes sense, until that is ready. And then this other piece here that I was working on, as you can see, is crusty. And then this was the piece that went here. But you know, from watching some of Steve's stuff on YouTube, sometimes you can't make a piece that contours a bunch of different directions out of a single piece. So I kind of cut it up where I will be able to, like this. So that piece, put it over here side by side. So that piece right there is one, and then this piece, because it's got this bend in it, which ain't gonna be hard to do on the stretcher shrinker, but it's also got this indention here for a drain, so it can drain the water out. And that piece goes there. So I'm going to make it separate, and then it'll be one total piece that I could put back on here. And then this one here, I'm working on it too. That's the place where the rear seat belt bolts up to. So I'll probably reuse this, just kind of cut it off here and weld it to the new piece after I clean it up. Anyways, the old can of worms, man. Old can of worms. It's okay though. Look, it's got a sad face. But it won't be sad for very long. We'll get this part here cleaned up, get that painted with the 415, and then get it all buttoned up here where I can start moving on to something else. This looks like it's starting to be a couple day project, so it's the way it goes sometimes. All right, night night.